next item is approval of the April 9th, 2025 minutes. They're in your packet. Any concerns? Otherwise, I'll take a motion to accept. Motion by Martins, second by Killian. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. The second item is Human Resources Report for April 2025. It's in your packet. Any questions for the HR Director? None? Okay. We will put that on file. Item number 3, discussion of possible action to amend the fleet safety policy. Hello, Dustin.
Hi, good evening. So we brought this forward. All we're trying to do is, in the past, what we've done is we have inspection cards in all the vehicles that Public Works owns. And in the past, we did that. We had a much older fleet, and we were trying to keep better control. There was more shared vehicles, stuff like that. So all we're looking to change now is that any of the light vehicles, automobiles, light pickup trucks, stuff that doesn't fall under CDL requirements, we're not going to require to use our inspection cards anymore. We're just going to basically, that vehicle is assigned to a person, so they're responsible to make sure that they're doing their safety checks, that their lights are working, stuff like that. So we're just changing the policy to allow for that.
It said that there were no longer going to be driver's license checks, correct?
When it comes to CDL drivers, we have it's called a clearinghouse where we monitor all that. What I was changing in there is the wording because I think it said in there that, I don't know if it was the fleet manager or something was going to do that, and that's not our policy. The fleet manager doesn't check people's driver's licenses. Any checks we do on that runs through HR.
Oh, because under the next section, I think it was item number 2, it said that it would be up to employees to let the supervisors know if there was a change in their driver's license, and I thought that the periodic driver's license checks was probably a good idea, just in case somebody did not or forgot to say my driver's license has changed. And not knowing about CDL licenses, I don't know the requirements or anything, but that was something that came to mind.
Yeah, for any of our CDLs, we have a clearinghouse, so anything that would pop up on someone's license in there will show up when we do those types of things. But like I said, that runs through HR. We don't, down at Public Works. It's just the way it worded it in there, that's why I took that out, because the fleet manager doesn't check on driver's licenses, stuff like that. But it has been a long-standing policy. We are required to let everyone, or HR, let someone know if we have an issue with our license.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I'll take a motion to accept the new policy. Thank you, Michael. Motion by Martins, second by Gisselman. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Number 4 is discussion and possible action to approve adjusted summer hours pilot. This is coming back from last month. We had asked for a couple of items to be vetted a little bit and brought back to the committee.
Okay, so the main differences in this packet versus the one from last month are going to be avenues in which we can collect data from the public. We can, in the third page of the packet, communication methods are, we can do the Dropbox surveys, paper surveys. We can and will do QR codes, so we can develop QR codes so people can easily scan in multiple places throughout the community, not just City Hall. Other community spaces, we can do social media polls, so pulse checks throughout the city-run platforms that we have, and we can do this year-round after the pilot, so we can capture perceptions from the public on how they felt regarding the hours changed during the pilot. We also can do some partnership outreach, so collaborations with other local institutions, UW Extension, and try to reach some underserved populations as well and identify ways to communicate with them. Press release, we can do that, as well as a summer flyer, so the mailer that goes out, we can communicate there. We also can do the utility bill insert, so we can communicate via the water bill throughout the year, and also capture perceptions that way. I've included some additional data as well from transactions that have been collected from 23 and 24 with the help of the city clerk and the deputy city clerk. We do stand that this would be beneficial for work-life balance, and it will mirror what some of the other communities have done with taking Fridays, and some take it off completely, but you'll see on the last page, there is a wide breadth of information regarding counties and other municipalities that have adopted a summer program of sorts. Now, what I have realized is after the pilots, most have adopted this year-long and permanently. I'm not suggesting that for this upcoming pilot, but understanding it might be a possibility should it be a successful campaign for the employees. There, I have, let's see, Caitlin is here as well, if you would like to invite her up to speak.
Terry,
I do have
You have a
one
question for
question. You mentioned that you would be figuring out ways to service the more difficult populations, people who are English challenged. How are you going to do that?
Yeah, you actually inspired me as watching last month's where you had mentioned the Hmong community, perhaps, and
Latino as well.
okay, yes, absolutely, and in my children go to school where it's primarily the Spanish-speaking folks, and I appreciate that as well. So making sure even in the schools, if there's a way that we can communicate through even PTOs that I have connections with, but getting into those areas and where they like to spend time would be something that I would personally take that on if necessary in identifying those areas.
I know in the past, at multiple meetings of the council, it has been brought up about Hmong language and so forth. And even if you send out a notice in a water bill, and are you going to have anything in a different language so that everyone is able to know what you're doing?
I would love to capitalize on that opportunity to connect with the community members. Absolutely, I would look into that.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
any other questions? Do you want to, go ahead, Gary.
You said can. There's quite a few, there's a lot of items on that list. Is that can going to be will, or how do you see the presentation of this into the community, specifically now between now and Memorial Day? This has to act pretty quickly, I would think. I trust this will go to the city council, so that, I don't know if that's, but how, I mean, it's just pretty much a few weeks. If the Memorial Day to Labor Day, if that's the time period that we're talking about, will those things get, or is this sort of a summer project? Or, I mean, once City Hall is closed on Friday afternoons, it's hard to get that. It may be too late for that person coming up the steps at 3:30 on a Friday afternoon to know that the City Hall is closed. Just curious.
You are correct. The proximity to execution is less than ideal. However, I did just get this project. So we would do our best to communicate this out, and by, can, I do mean will, should this pass. I would expect a partnership from the staff here at City Hall as well to help with a project plan and to establish a timeline and metrics that we would meet in order to assure that we can get communication out in time. The communication via the QR codes and even the paper possibilities within, the front area here, I think that we can collect the information, and if we get a lot of negative feedback, we will take that into consideration for next year. But that's the beauty of a pilot, is that it's not permanent.
I just wanted to make one more comment. Any feedback that I have gotten about the pilot program last year and this year has been unsolicited by me. And last year, I did have 5 or 6 people very upset that they came to City Hall and it was closed. And all of the things that you are proposing are very positive, but not everyone, unfortunately, has the ability or is able to, for time restraints, language restraints, whatever, they are unable to know that City Hall is closed. So I did have negative feedback regarding last year's pilot, and I had 2 phone calls this week opposing a pilot program. They felt, and the feedback I got was pretty strong. It was not a calm, quiet feedback. And they said that we pay the city staff to be there from 8 to 4:30. And what they said was if they want to take a day off, take vacation time. So I did address that at a previous meeting, and that is the feedback I have received.
Would you like to hear from Caitlin? Okay.
Thank you, Chairwoman. To address your point, Alder Killian, that's part of one of the benefits to this pilot program is that, we feel that a lot of staff take off or request to take off on Fridays, especially. And so if we shift the hours that we are open, then we can provide better customer service while still allowing those employees to take off those 3.5, depending on which option you would go with. On Fridays, we can provide better customer service when we are open, those 42.5 or 38 hours during the week.
And I do appreciate that thought, but keep in mind it was not my feedback. It was the feedback from residents who feel that City Hall should be open. And as I am here to represent my constituents, that is probably what I'm going to be doing. So I do understand that when you're fully staffed, you can provide better service. But if we were here on Fridays, I think the service would be equally as good.
Thank you. I'll tell my staff that, but it is difficult. Like we had a situation last week where we're short-staffed and one person had off and then one person was called in sick, and then it's, okay, who can we pull to staff the front to make sure that someone is available? And I know every other government and business deals with that as well, but we're just looking at this opportunity to maybe address some of those problems as well as create that opportunity for that employee work balance, or work-life balance.
Gary, do you have a question? No, okay. Any other questions for Caitlin or staff?
Thank you.
Do we know when this is supposed to start? This proposed pilot?
To be Memorial through Labor Day.
What is your pleasure, committee? Yes, Michael.
I will make a motion that we go forward with the pilot on option number 1.
Which is, I didn't go through that. Okay, does everybody see the number 1 is, and I'll do it for the people watching, it's 7:15, so City Hall, the proposal would be City Hall would be open from 7:15 to 4:30, Monday through Thursday, and Friday, 7:15 to 12:15.
Well, I have a question.
Go ahead.
With regard, so during the rest of the 9 months, because I think we're sending out a different set of hours here, because during the regular 9 months, it's 8 to 4:30, right? So why are we now saying 7:15 when we're giving them a different, so that we're saying, okay, 7:15 only during 3 months, but then it changes again. Would it not be better just to at least start at 8 o'clock, 12 months of the year, so that at least that element of when we're open, or 7:30, 12 months of the year? Because then we would be presenting a consistent 12-month, at least in open hours. I have serious questions about the Friday afternoon myself, but at least if this option moves on, at least to the point of consistent open hours, 12 months of the year, because if this option is the one that moves into the city council, I prefer that there should be some consistency. The citizen should know at 8 o'clock or 7:30, 12 months of the year, it makes no difference, but 7:15, I think, is kind of but that's just my viewpoint.
Yeah, so this idea rose out of our now employee engagement committee, right? And so that was chosen as a starting time from that group of representatives from each department to start at 7:15. They felt they preferred to start earlier in the day than work longer in the day when, during the warm summer months. So for our pilot in 2024, we started Monday through Thursday at 7:15, and then on Friday, we started at 8 a.m. And from that post-pilot survey, the resounding response from staff was that they preferred to start every day at 7:15. And there are other departments that are already starting at 7 or 7:15 or 7:30 throughout the year, such as like municipal court starts earlier. I believe the water and DPW start earlier than 8 a.m. already. So it would be different depending on the department across the city.
But the customer service side of City Hall, for instance,
Correct.
Water doesn't get many walk-ins. I'm sure Public Works is the same way. But I think, at least for City Hall, in my view, I think we should be presenting some kind of a consistent 12 months of the year. But that's just my point. I know that other departments open, have over parks and Public Works, granted. But that's just my view. Thank you.
Caitlin, I'm not trying to be difficult,
No,
but
no.
I'm just having thoughts about these hours. If I had an 8 to 5 job, which many people do, I would be at 7 o'clock getting ready to go to work, and I'd be working until 5 o'clock. If I had a manufacturing, or as you mentioned, the water utilities, they start at 7, so we have people who start at 7. I know the medical industry, which I've been a part of, my shifts are usually from 7 to 3:30, so those hours are going to be difficult for a huge bulk of the residents. And I think because we are here to serve the residents, we need to think about the fact that even if you're open from 7:15, anybody who has an 8 to 5 job isn't going to want to be here. And if they start at 7 o'clock, they can't be here. And they don't want to rush from the hospital or a manufacturing job so I can get to City Hall. So I just think, as much as I care about everyone wanting a half day off on Friday. I just don't feel like it serves our residents well.
If I can just add one other thing, is that currently we are 8 to 4:30, which does, overlap with a lot of other employees or businesses in the city. So proposing a different, schedule might, assist or help people be able to come to the city, as well as we have worked since this idea was first floated in 2021 by making more options for people to be able to interact with city staff, such as, the Dropbox, or being able to set up automatic payments, or contact staff online or over the phone. And since we did the pilot in '24, the city of Eau Claire, they did just do a new schedule, year-round schedule, that has one day with extended hours, and then shorter hours, I believe, Tuesday through Thursday, and then they're closed on Friday, to both accomplish that employee work-life balance, but as well as be more accommodating to their residents and employees. And maybe if you guys do vote to go forward with the pilot, and we gather that pre-data and post-data, that maybe the employees would tell us that that's what they were looking for, and we could adapt it and improve it for 2026 or year-round, or whatever you guys would like to do.
I'm scared of that, and that's maybe the reason I will vote no on this, because now we're starting to talk about year-round. I think that I don't understand that. It's like it was going to be a pilot, and then summer, and now we're talking about maybe we can make this year-round to have it closed on, half day on Fridays. I've gotten feedback myself from neighborhood meetings, and, it could be sour grapes, some of it. I have to work Fridays, why shouldn't they? It could be some of that. So I try to filter that out of what we're doing, but I guess I want everybody to be aware that if this is a precursor to an expansion of Fridays permanently off, I think we need to think about that too. I don't know what the public's going to say, so we can see what their feelings are during this pilot if it goes through. That's fine. But I guess I would caution people to start automatically thinking that this is just a first step to make this a permanent thing. I like to see data. I'm a data-driven person, so let's see data, and maybe people will adjust, meaning the residents. I guess, but I also heard the last meeting that we talked about that the municipal court was not willing to make this a permanent thing.
No, we can make it a temporary adjustment, and they'll just post it on the website. But I believe if it's a permanent change to their court hours, we would have to do an ordinance change to get that updated.
Go ahead, Terry.
What about delaying the pilot program and getting citizen input first? Is that a possibility? Can we have a pilot program? Get all of the resident input this year, and then if it's really positive and residents think, okay, I think I'd be all right with that, have the pilot program next year and see what happens. Becky just talked about being data-driven. Maybe get the data first and then see what the residents say. I don't know if that's a possibility, or, generally, if you're going to get public feedback, you get it before you do something, not afterwards. So just a thought.
I think a potential third option could also be shortening up the pilot, like that was proposed last month too, where instead of going from Memorial Day to Labor Day, you could do 4th of July to Labor Day, or shorten, so you would have more time to maybe collect some pre-data as well as inform the public of that potential change. Do you have something to add?
If it's okay. So last year, when this went through, I was a hard no, and I didn't allow this to occur at the police department. And then our staff came to me, and I think they felt a little bit disenfranchised compared to other clerical staff, which is generally who this would apply to. And that surprised me a little bit. I didn't expect them to feel the way that they did. And so what I shared with them this year is should the council pass this, I am willing to try it. But what I want to see is if it's 7:15, if we normally open at 8, I want to know how many people we've created an opportunity for them to stop in and do their business with the police department before 8 o'clock. So I agree with everything I'm hearing. I think they're valid concerns. At the police department, my intention is to allow it to move forward. But over that 3-month period of time, I want to know how many people are we disenfranchising, or how many people are we creating an opportunity for? Because I don't know how many people start work at 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning, and they need to have opportunities to do business with us. But I think as I'm listening to the debate and I'm thinking about it through the lens of the police department, I have no idea what the answers to those questions are. Like, how many people want to drop off their prescription medications at the police department in our lobby, but they have to be to work by 8, and so they don't have the opportunity to do that, and that would make it convenient. So my commitment to the council, should you move forward, is I'll be more than happy to provide information on how that impacted the police department. And really the only way to know to do that is to experiment with it, try it, and see if it's a good thing, a bad thing, or nobody cares. And I can't tell you which way that would be right now. Thank you.
Caitlin, you opened the door to what I was thinking, because one of the possibilities in this is the July 4th to Labor Day, which gives us a wider, which provides 2 months of a pilot, but yet it provides us a little bit more of a time between now and 4th of July to start to present the issue to the citizens. So I'm not, evidently you were thinking about this also. I'm not sure if that's a possibility, but I would certainly be willing to, in the light of the survey going on and in the light of option 1, and I just would like to hear what the staff feels about that. You dropped the hint, and I sort of was pondering that same thought of just creating, at this point in time in 2025, a 2-month pilot so that we could at least get some sense of what the people are saying as some kind of a survey, and at least acknowledging the staff that they are respected, and that, okay, we'll see what happens with the 2-month pilot.
Just looking ahead at our council schedule as well, that would give time for this to get to the second council meeting in May, and then also time to tell the public in the summer newsletter that would go out in June, versus we don't have one going out between now and Memorial Day. So we would have another opportunity to try to reach residents.
But yet we're presenting some kind of a pilot so that we can have a gauge from the citizens with the actual practice going, with it actually happening this summer, from one holiday to the, from Labor Day through to Labor Day. So thank you.
Okay, well, Michael still has a motion out there with option 1. No, we do not.
Well, I will second it with the amendment that it begins on Labor Day. I'm sorry, begins on the 4th of July through Labor Day.
Okay, is that okay with you, Michael? I'm fine with that. Okay, so we have a motion and second to do the pilot program starting from July 4th to the Labor Day holiday. And it's option 1, which is 7:15 to 4:30, with 7:15 to 12:15 on Friday. Any further discussion on that? No. Any further discussion on any of that? Okay. So all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? 1. So that passes 3-1, and that will go to council.
Thank you all.
And I believe that's it. I will take a motion to adjourn. Motion by Killian, second by Martins. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are.